Thanks for joining us this morning. Welcome to ATI Pro Media. We're live at 9 o'clock. It's April 17th, Thursday. We got no trade tomorrow. Tomorrow's Good Friday. It's Easter weekend coming up. Big weather weekend. Weather model's going to be updating, changing. We'll see what happens here. Lots happening here. Got a special guest today. Dr. Cruz is back. We'll bring him in here later. We got plenty of headlines to talk about. Buckle up, buckle in. We're going to dive into it. But first, let's go to your markets. Give you a quick update of where your markets are at here today. May corn is up a penny, 4.85 1/4. New crop D's corn is up 3/4 cent at 4.67 1/2. May beans are down a penny at 10.37. New crop Nove beans are down 3 cents at 10.31. Soy oil is a little bit firmer. Soy meal is a little bit weaker. Looking over at your wheat markets, we got Chicago May wheat up 6 1/4 cents at 5.54. KC wheat May contract up 10 cents at 5.68. July KC wheat is 9 cents firmer at 5.81 1/4. Looking over your meat markets, the April feeder cattle contract, its last trading day is today, and it's up 3.42 at 10.93.37. May feeders are up 85 cents at 2.85.25. So a little spread action going on here as we finish up that April feeder cattle contract. Looking over your live cattle, we got April fats up 80 points at 207.87.5. Your back months are down a little bit. We got October, December down a little bit on the back there. Your hog market is a little bit lower, 40 cents lower on May hogs. June hogs, 45 cents lower, 97.50 on June hogs. Crude market is 73 cents firmer, 63.23 a barrel on crude. Diesel is up a penny at 2.13, and nat gas is a penny firmer at 3.25. The Dow is down almost 400 points. United Health is down 20%, weighing on the Dow, while the S&P is up 29 points and the Nasdaq is 66 points firmer. Bitcoin's lower, gold's weaker, silver's weaker. The dollar bouncing back a little bit, but right there on those 3-year lows. So cotton's up as well, 50 cents on cotton, 68.34 on your Dees cotton. So getting close to that 70-cent range. All right, let's dive into the show here. Got special guest back again, popular demand, one of our favorite premium contributors, Dr. Cruz. Come on in here, Dr. Cruz, and join me.
Hello, good morning. How are you guys?
I'm good. Thanks for joining, taking time to join us today.
Anytime.
Right.
Nice
if you guys have questions for Dr. Cruz about Brazil weather, he's our head of research. Ask him anything, load him up. And if you got some questions for Dr. Cruz, pump them out there and we'll get to them here at the end of the show. So, All right. Well, from here, we had a couple tweets yesterday. We'll run through those and then we'll jump into, you got a couple slides here. One of the big ones here was Trump lashing out at Jay Powell spoke yesterday and lashed out at Jerome Powell. I'm going to load that tweet up here before we dive into it first. But here we go. The ECB is expected to cut interest rates for the 7th time, and yet too late. That's his nickname for Jerome Powell. Too late, Jerome Powell of the Fed. It was always too late and wrong yesterday. Issued a report, which was another and typical complete mess. Oil prices down, groceries are down. USA getting rich on tariffs. Too late, should have lowered interest rates like the ECB long time ago, but he should certainly lower them now. Powell's termination cannot come fast enough. So calling for Powell to be terminated. Here's a graphic that shows you the differences in, the Fed. Their last rate cut was back in December, which seems like a long time ago, Dr. Cruz.
Well,
the ECB has continued to lower their rates here, and they did lower a 1/4 point this morning. So a barrage of tweets on Truth Social there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to follow this war also between Trump and Jay Powell. I think that the Fed they're probably waiting to see what's going to happen with all this tariff situation now. Well, the macro scenario know that the possible consequences for that is going to be inflation and lower economic growth. But it's hard for economists to determine which one is going to be a permanent effect and the transitory effect, right? So the Fed has to decide, okay, if we have a problem with low economic growth in the future, they need to work on the interest rate. They have to reduce interest rate in the future. But if they think that the problem is more of inflation rate problem, they're probably going to try to keep inflation rate close to that level, they're going to be more concerned about like reducing that interest rate in the future, near future at least.
Interesting. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, caught in the middle there and a little bit of a pickle of how things are going to play out there going forward. But I thought it was interesting, Dr. Cruz, that the ECB mentioned it when they justified their rate cut here. They talked about offsetting the economic blow to tariffs, and I think the tariffs are on a 90-day pause with them right now too. So it's kind of interesting that the comment was we're lowering the rate because to offset the blow from tariffs, but we're on a pause with the implementation of their tariffs. So,
yeah, I think they're just thinking like a 90-day could be maybe a long time for discussion, but we don't know what's going to happen at the end of those 90 days. And the effect of interest rates and economy takes a little bit longer than that, may take a little bit longer than that. So I think they're trying to be cautious about possible consequences, not only for them, but for the rest of the world, right? Because those tariffs, as we showed last week, they are affecting everybody.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's jump into a couple of that first graphic you've got here. I'm going to load that up to the stage, and we'll talk about that, Dr. Cruz.
Oh, the first one is actually related to what we just talked about, right? This is a something that was on the White House website. It just highlighted the piece that is more interesting here for us. China faces up 245% tariff on imports. At this point, to be very honest, it doesn't really matter if it's 100%, 200%, 500, 1,000%. There'll be no trade happening between those two countries, the U.S. and China, right? In addition to tariffs, China is probably going to impose other non-tariff restrictions to trade. But the point here is, till those two guys don't talk, nothing's going to be resolved. Doesn't really matter. Again, like you put a 250%, I'm going to come up with a 500%. This is not going to take them anywhere. And it is interesting to follow. I was checking the news yesterday. There is another tweet from Trump, not tweet from this other social media that he posts his comments, saying that he's been having conversation with Japan, other countries. I think he said today will be Italy. So anyways, his strategy is you come and you talk to me. I'm available for conversation, for negotiation, and we can come to an agreement, possibly a possible agreement if you come and talk to me. But checking on the news, Xi Jinping, president of China, he has a different approach. He's been visiting various countries in Southeast Asia. They're important partners for them and for us also, right? So which one is taking the right approach? Might work for one, might not work for another one. This is going to be interesting to see what's going to happen after actually they talk, right? They're trying to convince other countries that both the U.S. and China are bad partners, right? So let's see what's going to come up, what's going to happen after a few rounds of a negotiation between them and these other partners. And hopefully at some point they're going to talk to each other.
Yeah, well, it just highlights to me the unpredictableness of what lies ahead here for us. Bottom line, impossible to predict how it all plays out, but global chess match seems to be getting played by all the major countries in the world, and we'll see how the chips fall at the end of the day. And it may not be we may not have answers for quite some time.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with you. But at this point, I think they're trying to, of course, they're doing that because they think they're going to be better off negotiating by themselves with each other countries that they trade. But they could be maybe better off if they come to an agreement between China and U.S. Who knows, right? It's a game. It's a trade war that they're playing now, and they each have their best strategy, right? So let's see who's at the end of the day is going to be right.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, we hope we come to the table and it results in better trade for everyone and more fair trade across the board. But the headlines are going to continue to come, right?
In the meantime, a lot of volatility, uncertainty. That's the reason you need to talk to your trader, to Brady, to other guys from ATI to help you with negotiate your beans, your corn. These guys know what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It seems like the last, I've been with ATI for 8 years and doing in this business, helping farmers market, and we've had the gamut thrown at us. The first couple years were pretty quiet in my career, but the last 5 years have been nothing but a roller coaster ride and highlight the unpredictableness of what's going on in the world of ag markets
Yep.
and your whole global macro markets.
Yep.
Definitely. All right. So, being head of research, are you in charge of this What's Caught My Eye section, Dr. Cruz? Who puts the What's Caught My Eye section
It's
together?
usually Larry. Larry is the one who sends out the report. This is the first report we send out, like a series of reports that send out every day. This goes out at 5:30 in the morning,
Okay.
Central Time. Uh, it's a three-man work here. Brian, Larry, and I work together. Larry puts the what caught my eye. I really like his comments there, and I try to illustrate a little bit of what he wrote this morning. This is the first thing that everybody, when they open their email, check their phones in the morning, they see. So I think it's very good to have something meaningful, impactful, as a headline for our reports. So it's saying that China bought a record amount of Brazilian beans last week, equivalent of 60 to 70 cargoes. It's a
Wow.
lot of beans. Yeah. Last month, for example, was the second largest month of imports from of soybeans from Brazil to China. Um, it was the record for March. And Brazil is producing, just to remind you guys, a record soybean crop. Crop is being developing well in Brazil, and they are going to export a lot this year, mostly to China. The last part of the headline that we have here is likely 95% of major exporter shipments to China this May will come from Brazil, with zero business from us. Um, Usually, China imports from Brazil 75% of their beans this time of the year, especially. Yeah, close to two-thirds, like probably average of 5 years, maybe even more than that. Uh, but they're looking at Brazil. This time of the year is more common for them to go to Brazil because that's where beans are. But if you check the chart just below that, maybe it's going to be hard for me to highlight here, but if you look for October 18th, you're going to see that the blue bars, dark blue bars that are in this chart are monthly exports from U.S. to China. Yellow is from Brazil to China. You're going to see that over the years, they have been increasing their imports, soybean imports, but mostly from the yellow bars, mostly from Brazil. And that area that I'm highlighting there, 18, 19, that's when we have the first trade war with China. You're going to see that there is a significant reduction of the dark blue bars there. So
Yes.
we came to like almost zero exports to China at that point. So this is probably what you're going to see going forward if they don't come to an agreement, right? Right now, with the tariff that you just showed before in the previous slide, we are not very optimistic that they're going to have a short-term change in this pattern, but it's normal for this time of the year for China to go to Brazil to buy their beans because that when Brazil harvests beans, they're exporting their beans, but it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in the coming months. So just checking lineups, how much China is buying from Brazil. That could be, we have to go back to 18, 19 to have maybe a sense of what can happen in the coming months for us.
Interesting. Yeah. I like looking at graphics, and it takes me a while for my eyes to adjust to see what I'm looking at here. But I like that you highlight in the middle of that graphic right there, the lack of blue bars highlighting that first trade war. And then there was 21, 22, 23. The blue bars kind of got to a more normal type of pattern.
Yep.
And then last year, maybe disappointing in the 24 time frame. And
Mm-hmm.
are we peaking now? We're going to see that yellow bar increase as we go forward. And
Yep.
hopefully it's not the blue bars don't completely disappear, but what you're saying is possibly could see that going forward, which wouldn't be a good thing for U.S. soybean, in my opinion.
Yeah. Charts are always good for you to highlight what you want to show, and it's tricky for you to, okay, how much information I bring to this chart. I know it's a lot of information, but in the beginning you see that I think the blue bars are more dominant than the yellow bars, right?
Yeah.
And then there is a transition, a period. Of course, you have a change, a structural change in 18 when China just looked for Brazil as a main partner, right? They were diversifying their market. And then since 18, I think for sure the yellow bars are more dominant than the blue bars.
Hmm. Okay. Well, I've got some more questions for you on this, but I'm going to ask them later too. I'm interested about Argentina. I'm interested about soybean meal as well, and those components too, because Argentina, a little flick of Argentina early in that graphic and kind of
Yep.
not as pronounced later. So maybe we get to those offline
Sure.
after the
Yep.
show here.
No problem.
Yeah. All right. Let's jump into speaking of Argentina.
Yeah, right. So Argentina, the Buenos Aires Grain Exchange usually posts their crop progress and conditions report on Thursday, but because of the holiday tomorrow, they posted it yesterday, so I was able to bring you fresh information from Argentina. You see that their corn harvest is doing very well, like 28% harvest, but beans are very slow, 4.9%. I think the average goes to 25, 27%. So they're very late with their beans harvest. Last week or the week before, I can't remember, they had some areas had problem with a frost, but it wasn't, the impact was not like, they're not showing the impact here when you see conditions. Conditions are decent, especially week over week. We can see improvement in the green bars that show excellent and good conditions. But we can just see that bad conditions are getting like smaller. It was 24% for corn, 22 this last week, 22 this week. 21% of beans were graded were rated as regular or poor. Now 18%. So I don't think we're going to see a lot of changes. And the estimates that we see on the top, we have Buenos Aires Grain Exchange and we have Rosario Grain Exchange. RGE is the Rosario, another exchange in Argentina, and the USDA. The April WASD. Baja is very close to the USDA. Last week, Rosario increased their corn estimate and decreased their beans estimate. So the only thing that's a little bit off here is the 45.5 million metric tons for beans production versus the 49-ish for both Baja and the USDA, right? Actually, this is one thing that I had to show you about Argentina, but there are two other things that we have to keep watching in addition to weather, of course, in Argentina. How
Okay.
how much yield they're going to get from both corn and beans. But first thing, the President Milei in Argentina, he reduced export tariffs through the end of June, if I'm not wrong, for both corn and beans. They're still high, relatively high. I have the numbers here. They reduced from 33 to 26% for beans and from 12 to 9.5% for corn. And he already said that they're going to be back to the initial levels in July. So until then, you're going to see possibly more exports coming from Argentina. They are kind of still slowly exporting, selling. Farmer selling is not like super moving at a very fast pace, but now, with an additional change that they recently have, like this week, with the exchange rate regime, we may see maybe more exports coming from Argentina. So Argentina, they have been fighting economic problems for a long time. Inflation, exchange rate in Argentina has been tricky to follow because they have had 14, 16 different exchange rates in the country. But mainly now they have a official and an unofficial exchange rate. And President Milei is merging those two exchange rates, right, to be simplistic here. And now this exchange rate, the official exchange rate is going to move within a range, 1,000 to 1,400 pesos per dollar, and they're going to adjust that range every month. The point now is like that might be a possible devaluation of the peso going forward, getting closer to the upper bound of the range that I just said, and that can be beneficial for Argentinians to exporters to export more corn and beans, especially corn. Argentina is one of the main exporter of beans, but when you combine Brazil and U.S. together, they export 90% of total exports in the world. But for corn, Argentina is the third largest exporter. So going forward, we may see more competition coming from Argentina. Right now, if you need corn, you have to come to the U.S. Brazil, which is the other main exporter, doesn't export a lot of corn during the first part of the year. They export corn after they harvest the second corn crop. which is a little bit late this year, probably late July, August. That's when you're going to see more competition coming from Brazil. So those are the things for us to watch from Argentina in the coming months.
Definitely. Well, it's nice to be the number one game in town for the U.S. for a while, at least on corn business, but we're definitely not the number one game in town on beans right now, is kind of the bottom line of what I'm hearing. And a lot of questions about what will happen going forward on that front, too. But
right.
Yeah. And then those other crop, Argentina and Brazil, when those corn crops become more available, one, more competitive with the change in the export rate tariff and then the currency games that are kind of being played down there. And then also, the safrinha corn crop coming online, being harvested June, July timeframe, at least for near term, some positive things there on the U.S. corn front. But things can change pretty quick going forward.
Yes, so that's right. There we know. Yep.
I'll remind you guys, if you have any questions for Dr. Cruz, post them over there in the comments. We'll get to them at the end of the show. If you have anything you want to ask him, don't be afraid to ask something here. So, but speaking of exports, we did have weekly export sales update here this week. To me, it looks pretty solid for corn, even for beans and wheat. Looking out at that new crop wheat export number out there, 10 million bushels of wheat on the books there, new crop wise. And then even looking down at that cotton section, I feel like there's maybe an uptick on that cotton number there on the weekly exports. Any insights into the weekly export sales figures today, Dr. Cruz?
I agree with you. There's also, like, if you see the new crop exports, which is decent, as you said, like don't think you probably don't have the big breakdown by country there. There was a little bit of a sales to China for beans to China also. Some cancellations, but well, it's good to see those numbers. Like we are within the expected range, closer to the upper end than the lower end, more than we need for the week. So I don't think, speaking of tariffs, they're going to affect much of what we still have left for the 24-25 marketing year. Is more about the new crop that can be affected, right? Especially for beans, when you talk about beans, because now, again, we don't export a lot of beans now. It's more like Brazil, in Argentina, a bit of Argentina, where they are harvesting beans. But right now, corn is the main commodity to watch in these export sales.
Gotcha. Okay. Another strong point for corn is ethanol production and ethanol demand. We had EIA numbers yesterday as well, and production was down a little bit, down 9,000 barrels versus last week, but still at that over 1 million barrels per day, which was good. And stocks tightened up a little bit as well, not too far out of line on that ethanol ending stocks number. So another thing to keep your eye on as we go forward here. So, all right, anything else on the grains? I'm going to jump to cattle if you got any other comments on grain stuff, and we can tidy that up.
Just a reminder, we can talk more about, like you asked about Argentina, just had that in mind here. Like even though Argentina doesn't export a lot of beans to China or anywhere, they export some, but they are the main exporter of meal and oil. So that's the importance that Argentina has in the soybean complex. So they are one of the main crushers, and they export a lot of the beans that they produce. Import a lot of beans from Paraguay, from Uruguay, from Brazil sometimes also. So that's the reason we have Argentina as an important player in the soybean complex. And they actually have the problem with one crushing plant there. They went bankrupt. They're going to probably reduce Argentina crushings for maybe 5 to 6%. So that's another thing we can watch going forward. There might be some opportunities for us to take some of that export market.
Okay, interesting. Well, we'll keep our eyes on that for sure. Okay. Well, I'm going to talk. We got a cattle on feed report here this afternoon. No LRP will be available today. Yesterday was the last day you could do LRP prior to cattle on feed report here this afternoon. When we look at that cattle on feed report estimates here, 98.3 estimated on feed number versus a year ago, so down 1.7% is the average estimate. Placements have a big range in placements there, from 99 being down 1% to being 6.4% higher. That'll be where potentially the surprise could come in, is what was actually placed and will they be up. But the average guess is 103.7% placements there, and then the marketings as well. So we'll get that at 2:00 today. And then grain markets are going to be closed here after no night session, no day session tomorrow. and reopen on Sunday at 7, and then back to the trade on Monday. So we'll see how it all shakes out going forward. Dr. Cruz, I appreciate you being on and jumping on here with us today, and I wish everyone out there a happy Easter weekend. A lot going to happen. 3 days off, no markets, updated weather models for South America, for the Black Sea, for the U.S., and we'll get planning progress on Monday as well. See how much work we got done here.
Some rain for us here, right? Listen to this Corn Belt. There'll be some rain for us on the weekend. Let's see if it's going to slow down the planting pace here for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited to see where planting progress will be pegged at on Monday, and then what the outlook, who gets the rain, where did it fall, what's the extended the into the first week of May outlook. We're always looking forward in ag, so we look forward to what's going to happen this weekend. But by the time the weekend gets here, we're going to realize, hey, what happened this weekend, and what does it look like out there 7 to 10 days in the future too. So, all right. Well, Dr. Cruz, I appreciate you jumping on. We'll have you back again in who knows, maybe next week again too, probably.
Yep.
So
happy to come back here and talk to you guys. Always have fun, and thanks for having me again, and happy Easter.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you.